wherever. I'm from here, you know. And
So you're from Newark?
Yeah, Belleville, Newark. I was born in Newark.
What's up with the guy he killed? Angelo Bruno. He was from New York. What's his name? Tony Caponigro.
Yeah, he was from Newark.
Yeah.
They killed him.
He was a little before your time, or?
Yeah, but they killed him right after that.
Yeah. He was a pretty tough fella, from what I've
heard. Yes. Yeah. If he didn't do that, he might have been all right. But
is it true the Genovese tricked him into doing it?
That's what
the words could have gone in either way. You know what I mean? So it's hard. Listen, the lifestyle is a manipulative lifestyle, right? So they may have said it because they actually wanted him out of the way. Who knows? It's hard to say.
So what was that? What was now that history passed? What was the real knock on Bruno? He didn't want to get into drugs, or what was it? What was the knock? Why did he get killed?
I don't think there was any real beef, to be honest with you. I think they wanted to move him out of the way to get into current times. I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Joe, he was a wealthy guy.
Which I think is a mistake because you need both. You kind of need both. You need to stay in touch with the old world guys, and you need to mingle and earn in the new world way. So it probably would have been beautiful, but when you have egos, and in this day and age, or 20 years ago day and age, you kind of have that spoiled brat mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Move them out of the way.
The opera generation.
Listen, flipping Paul Castellano obviously was kind of had to be done to save a lot of people, right? A lot of people. I mean, there would have been a disaster if they didn't take him out. There would have been probably 12 guys gone if they didn't take out Paul Castellano, I would assume. Because he was going to wipe out that whole.
Just out of curiosity, why do you say that? Because they weren't keeping up with the times. The street guys would have took over. What do you think?
Yeah, well, they didn't turn over tapes to him. They were they're backdoor.
Oh, on the other side, yeah.
The other side, but everybody did well on both sides of the pond when Gotti took over.
Yeah,
he was a good presence for the guys over here in Belleville. A lot of us did well over here, not just in the legitimate also. Guys that need to work got jobs. Regular hardworking guys got jobs. Yeah. I remember after I came out, I need to work. I was working, and they put me to work. They put me to work overnight in construction. I was working a day shift, a regular job, and they put me to work at night. That came from me.
Let me ask you a question. I know a lot of the reason that not only the tapes that Ruggiero and the lawyers wouldn't give up was that the guys were starving under Castellano. He was keeping everything himself. Do you think that the Chico and Gravano go against him if they're not starving under him?
It's hard to say. I think if it came from Gotti, he's a very strong presence, man. It's very hard to, if it's coming from him, it's very, very hard to refuse that guy.
Yeah.
It's one thing to kill a boss, but to kill a boss in Manhattan, rush hour, you know how many people were on the streets at 5:30 on a Monday? I mean,
Christmas shopping, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's really.
Fast forward 3 years after that, 5-10 years after that, everybody's doing good on both sides of the pond. I mean, the river, the Hudson River.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Gotti had a relationship with the guy, John D'Amato. Well, that was allegedly gay. Yeah.
That was the Cavalcanti guys.
Yeah, exactly.
He had a really strong presence here in Belleville too. I mean,
Brooklyn. I had a Brooklyn guy in Joe. Bobby Cabert was a whale on the Jersey side and was Gotti's emissary in Jersey. Very powerful captain.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
With the Cambinos. Is that a name? Did you guys hear from the New York side?
I never did.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting. You can be like 10 miles away, and they're 20 miles or 30 miles, and God can be super powerful, but you never heard him because he's out of the borough.
I'll tell you how strong Gotti's presence was. So, Bobby Cabert came from Belleville, went over there, did a hit for them. He got made with them guys, with those guys, or he got upped. I don't know if he got made or got upped. And came time for trial. Bobby Cabert, who was from our neighborhood, he was John Gotti's guy in Jersey, was in our neighborhood in Belleville. He got offered 10 years. And Gotti said nobody takes a plea. And they followed him, and Cabert got life. He got convicted and died in jail.
He got offered 10 years.
Got offered 10 years.
Holy shit.
And John says, we don't admit anything. This is a new thing. We don't admit anything. And our neighborhood guy went away for life.
Wow.
Just to answer Bandit Dane, the guys under Castellano, you got to remember, they weren't with Gotti. That were the Brooklyn Staten Island guys.
Right.
Gravano hardly knew Gotti, only from bouncing around. They were starving under Castellano. He was giving everything away. So my question was, do you think that Gravano and the Chico, who was a loyal guy to Chico, would have backed Gotti if they were doing fine with Castellano? I think some of it was they weren't doing fine with Castellano, and when they waited, they thought they were better with Gotti.
I'm going to go back to this. If John gets 4 guys in a room, he's like a, what do you call it? When they manipulate your brain. What's it called? The, you know.
Oh, I know what you mean. I can't think of it either. Persuasive. He's persuasive.
Yeah, you can't. You're walking out of here doing whatever he wants you to do.
Someone told me once that if he was standing in front of you in 5 minutes, he could convince you he wasn't there.
What's that called? The guy, you know, they put
Yeah,
you
I
on
understand. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they went with them because they realized he's got to do this, and he probably would pull it off. And if he does, where are they going to be? Because I think most of the guys that were at Sparks, they were Gotti's people. So, you know, I think that plays into it because, you know, they were smart enough to know.
In my opinion, you have to be around. You have to be around. You got to be a presence. You got to be around. If you're not around, things are just going to happen so fast under your shoes. You're not even going to know what's going to hit you. You got to be around. And you got to be, you know, you can't be a boss. You got to be a leader, right?
Yeah.
That's in legitimate worlds. That's in every world. You have to be a leader, not a boss. So Gotti was a little bit of both. But no one's gonna go against what Gotti said. I'll say it 100 times. 5 guys in the room. He's gonna get your brain to think the way he wants you to think. The only thing that bothered me about Gotti is that he wouldn't let anybody take plea deals, and that's a little tough.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going into the 90s and you can't take plea deals, in the 80s you can't take. It's a little tough. You know, there's a presence. We know there's Cosa Nostra. You know, there's a mafia. What are you hiding? You know what I mean? Take your plea, do your time, come out.
Tommy,
10 years state, the guy would have been out in 7 years, 8 years.
Tommy, what do you think of the story Gravano said, which is odd? I wouldn't believe Gotti would allow this when he said that he told Tommy Bellatti's brother, even though we killed your brother, you're safe. I can't imagine Gotti would be okay with that, knowing that there's a threat out there that I killed your brother. You know I killed your brother. Do you believe that story? That Gotti knew?
It's risk versus reward. I don't know. That's a very tough one.
Yeah.
But I say it like I said it before. If you're loyal through this life, this goes with it. These are the nuts and bolts. I saw the nuts and bolts from the inside. I lived it. I know the nuts and bolts. I went into rooms knowing that I would possibly not come out of these rooms, that my own family was going to knock me off in a social club. So the point is, you know it going in. So, yeah, there's a possibility that they would that. But then emotion takes over, so it's very tough.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
And John Gotti, as far as his relationship with the media, you know, everybody says he was posing for the cameras.
Yep.
Basically, it's a gift and a curse because being out there like that, he got locked up. But I think the fact that they were always up his ass is why it would be difficult to kill him, you know, because the feds were watching him so tight.
But
would you feel comfortable, you know, going to Mulberry Street or anywhere? You never know who's in the car watching you guys. So it was like the gift and a curse, I believe.
Okay, but when you sign up for that, you know that this is a possibility. They tried to kill him at the social club. They blew up the car. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Yeah.
some young buck is going to take that order. He's going to take that order and do it. It's
Yep.
crazy, right? But it is real that if somebody wants to make their bones, they're going to kill that guy. Listen, murder brings